Oh, we're following some news that is just into the newsroom in the last 5 minutes. Santa Fe police are investigating a deadly hit and run this morning. It happened about 3 o'clock, we're told, on St. Francis Drive, right between San Mateo and Alta Vista Street. We are told a man was walking across the street when he was hit or killed. Police are not talking about who could have done it at the time. In fact, we think they're looking for that person. Right now, southbound St. Francis Drive from Cordova to San Mateo is closed. It's probably going to stay that way until about 7 o'clock. If you have any information, if you happen to see this overnight, police there would like to hear from you.
In other news this morning, she is old enough to be a great-grandmother, and she uses an oxygen tank. This woman we're talking about is an accused drug dealer.
Yeah, she is Lily Smith. She is 84 years old. Take a look at her here. She was indicted on drug trafficking and other charges earlier this year. Sheriff's deputies say back in 2011, she was letting her son, Nathan Jones, live with her. Deputies suspected he was running a small drug operation out of the apartment. They searched the place and say they found scales, money, and drugs. Deputies say not only did Smith have drugs on her, but she even tried to pull one over on him.
When detectives were on scene, she did try to take the narcotics that she had on her person out and stash them.
Smith's son was arrested at the time, but she was not because of a medical condition. The district attorney's office filed charges, and Smith was finally arrested last month. She is now out of jail on bond.
I've likely seen something like this before, but it's the video that's got everyone talking. A woman admits that she has a body in her trunk. Police say Jennifer McKee, Ashley Gurule, and Julia Martinez led officers on a chase through Belen earlier this month. They ran into traffic on the town's main road, got sandwiched between two cars, and stopped at an intersection. When officers swarmed the car, one of the girls had quite the confession.
That's it? That's the whole reason you fled. Suspended license. There's nothing in the vehicle we need to know about. We're going to go through the vehicle like crazy, so I'm telling you right now, if there's anything in the vehicle, you need to let me know.
Yeah.
What is it?
The dead body.
Where?
Well, police say that body was Maurice Gonzalez of Albuquerque. McKee, Gurule are charged with stabbing him to death for his car. Martinez is charged with conspiracy.
An armed robber who targeted a series of fast food joints across the Albuquerque area has taken a plea deal. Uriel Francia pled guilty to 4 counts of armed robbery in federal court yesterday. He's now waiting to be sentenced and could spend 20 years behind bars. Francia was arrested last fall thanks to a group of workers at this Subway who followed him after he robbed the place. Police linked Francia to a total of 20 holdups in just 2 months. The U.S. Attorney's Office prosecuted him under the Hobbs Act, which covers franchises that do work in different states. The penalties for that are much tougher than if the state prosecutes people for the same crimes. We're now learning more about the youth camp volunteer who's in jail in Albuquerque this morning. Investigators say this man, Ricardo Cambis, showed 2 young girls sexually explicit pictures while they volunteered at the Galloping Grace Youth Ranch Pumpkin Patch. Agents say Cambis was texting the girls, planned to meet up with one of them, and even had condoms on him at the time. He's now charged with criminal sexual contact of a minor. The youth ranch's director tells us Cambis passed a background check and even has national security clearance because he works for Los Alamos National Lab. Well, Santa Fe police have some good and bad news this morning.
Let's start with the good. The good is that more criminals are now off the streets. The bad is that the city now has to find a way to pay for them to stay locked up. The police department is now asking Santa Fe's city council for $185,000. It needs the money to pay the county jail to house the inmates. Well, that money will cover the cost until the end of June. Santa Fe police have been cracking down on property and drug crimes, and they didn't plan on so many people being in jail. But this is one expense the chief says he is happy to pay for.
The longer they are out of service on the streets, the better off we as a community are.
Santa Fe's city council plans to vote on the extra money on May 29th.
A story from here in the Duke City that's making news all across the country is now getting animated. Tomo News is a website that combines video and animation to tell stories recreated what police call a kidnapping outside of this apartment complex in the North Valley last week. The animation shows a man who police say is David Hernandez pulling a 4-year-old into his car off Indian School near 12th.
Some teenagers who witnessed the act ran to tell the mother. She sped off in her car, hell-bent on hunting the child snatcher down. Little did she know, he stopped not long after and let the girl go.
Police say Hernandez got away after the chase, but he turned himself in the very next day. Well, it's no secret prescription drug abuse is a big problem here in New Mexico. In fact, more people die from overdosing on them than on other drugs, including meth and heroin. All day today, the Attorney General and other state leaders are going to talk about how to change those statistics. They'll be at the Embassy Suites in downtown Albuquerque from 8 to 5. One thing they'll touch on is how parents can tell if their kids are abusing prescription pills.
The Summer Safety Blast campaign is being launched this weekend. What is it? Well, state police will be patrolling looking for seatbelt and child restraint violations. The campaign coincides with the Fed's Click It or Ticket initiative, as well as New Mexico's 100 Days of Summer, which targets drunk drivers. And now that students are out of school, state officials are encouraging them to read by dangling a pretty cool prize in front of them. Educators find students who do not read over the summer tend to lose ground in their reading proficiency. So Governor Martinez is pitching the Be a Reading Animal program. That's the name of it, Be a Reading Animal program. It offers initiatives and incentives like a trip to Disney's Animal Kingdom, a ride in a hot air balloon with the governor, the opportunity to be a junior zookeeper at the Albuquerque Biopark, and even throw a pitch at an Isotopes game.
We want to engage them. We want to make sure they're excited about reading books all summer long. And then there's some special prizes they can win. So that makes it exciting for them.
The reading program is for kids entering 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grades, or kids ages 7 to 10 years old. I like that concept.
That's a great idea.
There's
if you
some
want
great
kids to
prizes
read,
too.
Oh, I know. Give them an incentive. I guarantee you they'll do
like
it, and
that.
maybe they'll learn to love to read too.
Yeah.